Have you ever noticed those people who never post their photos online? They exist quietly scrolling, observing, maybe even liking others' pictures, but their own face rarely appears on the feed. In a world obsessed with being seen, they choose to stay unseen. And maybe that choice says something deeper than words ever could. It's easy to assume they're shy, insecure, or antisocial, but that's not always true. Some people don't post their photos because they value something that's slowly disappearing: privacy. For them, not everything needs to be shared. Their face, their moments, their emotions, these are sacred things, meant to be lived, not displayed. They believe that when something becomes public, it loses its purity, so they keep their peace private. Some simply don't crave validation. They don't need likes to feel liked or hearts to feel loved. Their confidence isn't built on comments. It's built on quiet self-respect. These are people who have learned that applause doesn't always mean appreciation, and silence doesn't always mean invisibility. They know who they are, and that's enough. They find validation in their purpose, not in their profile. But not everyone's reason is strength. For some, silence is a shield. They've been judged before, maybe for how they looked, how they dressed, or what they posted. The internet can be cruel, and criticism cuts deep. So they protect themselves by not giving anyone the chance to throw stones. It's not fear, it's self-preservation. When the world gets noisy, hiding can be healing. Others don't post because they simply don't care to. They are observers, not performers. They enjoy watching others live loudly while they live quietly. They find beauty in watching, not being watched. They know the world doesn't need another filtered smile. It needs people who truly see beyond the filters. These are thinkers, dreamers, introverts, people who find depth in silence. And then there are those who just don't want to pretend. Social media often feels like a masquerade. Everyone wearing masks of happiness, perfection, and success. But some souls can't fake smiles they don't feel. They'd rather stay real in silence than fake in spotlight. They know that true life isn't always beautiful, and that's okay. They'd rather live their truth privately than broadcast a lie publicly. There's also a kind of minimalism behind this silence. The less they share, the lighter they feel. They don't want the world's opinions weighing on their minds. They don't chase attention because they've found peace in detachment. They see beauty in simplicity, in existing without explaining, in feeling without photographing, in living without proving. And maybe, deep down, they understand something most people forget: that not being seen doesn't mean being forgotten. Some of the most powerful souls are the ones who don't seek attention. They shine in quiet corners where no camera can reach, where only authenticity exists. They don't want to be liked by many. They want to be understood by few. These people don't reject social media because they hate it. They just choose to exist differently within it. They're not hiding from the world. They're protecting their essence from it. In a time where oversharing has become normal, their silence is their statement. A statement that says, I don't need to show you everything to prove that I am something. So the next time you see someone who doesn't post their photos, don't mistake their quietness for emptiness. Behind that stillness might be a soul that's too deep for the digital world to understand. A soul that knows presence isn't about being seen. It's about being real. Because maybe the truest form of confidence isn't showing your face to the world. It's being at peace, even when the world doesn't see your face. Sometimes, the loudest people on social media are the loneliest in real life. And sometimes the quietest ones, the ones who never post, never show, never announce, carry the calmest kind of peace. Their silence isn't absence, it's awareness. They've simply understood something most of us forget: that you don't have to be seen to exist. People who don't post their photos often have a deep relationship with their inner world. They live more in thoughts than in frames. For them, every picture doesn't need to be taken. Some moments are meant to be felt, not photographed. They store their memories in their mind, not on a feed. When they watch a sunset, they don't think about lighting or angles. They think about meaning. They ask, why is this moment so beautiful? Rather than, how do I make it look beautiful? You see, these people measure life not by visibility, but by depth. They care less about how their face looks and more about how their soul feels. While the world rushes to upload proof of existence, they quietly live it. They are not escaping the world, they are simply refusing to be defined by it. For some, it's also about healing. They've learned that too much exposure drains energy. Every picture, every post invites eyes, and with those eyes come opinions. They've been there before, felt the pressure to be perfect, smiled when they didn't want to, pretended they were fine when they weren't. Now they choose peace over performance. They've realized that protecting your energy sometimes means protecting your visibility. There's also a spiritual truth hidden in their silence. When you stop showing yourself to everyone, you start seeing yourself more clearly. When the noise of likes fades, the voice within becomes louder. They begin to understand who they truly are, not who the algorithm wants them to be. This kind of self-awareness doesn't need an audience. It only needs honesty. People who stay away from self-display often have strong emotional intelligence. They know the difference between connection and attention. They crave real conversations, not compliments. When they share something, it's meaningful, not manufactured. Their words may be few, but their intentions are pure. They post when they feel, not when they're bored. And that makes every appearance of theirs rare but real. For them, the camera lens is not a mirror, it's a filter. They know that no picture can truly capture what's happening inside, the chaos, the healing, the small joys that can't be framed. So they choose to live off camera, where things are messier but more authentic. Their life may not look aesthetic, but it feels true. Sometimes they are misunderstood. People call them mysterious, emotionless, or detached. But mystery isn't always a wall sometimes. It's a sanctuary. They've simply built a space that belongs only to them, where no one's opinions can enter. In a world obsessed with being watched, they've mastered the art of being unseen, yet fulfilled. And maybe that's what the world is secretly missing. The courage to live quietly, the bravery to say, I don't need to show it to prove it. Because real peace doesn't need a platform, it needs presence. So, if you are one of those people who doesn't post much, don't let the noise of the world make you doubt your silence. You are not invisible, you're intentional. You're not hiding, you're healing. You're not detached, you're just deeply connected to something bigger than validation. You've simply learned that the best parts of life are not shared, they're lived. Because at the end of the day, what truly matters is not how many people saw your photo, but how deeply you saw yourself. There's something mysterious about people who don't post their photos. You see them online, maybe they share quotes, thoughts or songs, but rarely their face. It makes you wonder, what's behind that silence? What story hides behind the absence of an image? Maybe they've realized something most people haven't, that the world doesn't really see you asterisk. It sees only the picture you allow it to. The smile, the pose, the angle, all of it is a performance. But people who don't post have stopped performing. They've broken the illusion. They've understood that when you stop chasing attention, you start finding authenticity. These people often carry depth, the kind that doesn't fit into filters or frames. They think more than they speak. They feel more than they show. And sometimes they suffer more than they reveal. Because in silence, emotions echo louder. They see the world scrolling endlessly for approval, and something inside them whispers, there has to be more to life than this. They've seen how social media turns people into products, how faces become brands, and emotions become captions, and they choose not to play that game, not because they're afraid, but because they're awake. They understand that every post becomes a piece of your identity that the world owns, and they'd rather keep theirs whole. There's also a kind of loneliness that lives quietly in them, not the loneliness of being unseen, but the loneliness of being misunderstood. They want connection, but not the kind that comes from emojis or likes. They crave soul-level understanding, real conversations, shared silences, genuine presence. But in a digital world full of noise, that kind of connection is rare, so they stay quiet. They wait for the few who can hear silence and still understand its meaning. You see, their silence is not empty, it's full of intention. It's a pause between who they were and who they're becoming. It's space, the kind that allows growth. When others rush to post every version of themselves, these people choose to evolve privately. They don't want to be defined by their past pictures or yesterday's mood. They know that true transformation happens in solitude, not in public. And maybe they've learned from pain. Maybe there was a time they did share, They opened up, showed their smiles, their days, their hearts, but somewhere along the way, they were judged, misunderstood, or broken, and instead of hardening, they softened inwardly. They began to realize that not everything beautiful must be visible. Some things shine better in the dark. They are not trying to hide their faces. They are trying to find their souls. When they look into a mirror, they don't think, "Will this photo look good?" They ask, "Do I still recognize the person I've become?" That's a deeper question, and one no camera can answer. And yet, even without showing themselves, they leave an impression. You can feel their energy in their words, their silence, their thoughts. Their presence isn't in pixels, it's in vibration. They remind us that true identity is invisible. It lives in how you love, how you think, how you make others feel, not in how often you post your face. So maybe people who don't post their photos aren't missing out on the world. Maybe they're the ones truly living it. They see life through eyes, not through screens. They remember moments by memory, not by memory card. They understand that real beauty doesn't need proof, it needs presence. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, they are the rare ones who are content with being. They're not seeking to be noticed, they're seeking to be understood. And that's a kind of peace the internet can't provide. So if you ever come across one of them, someone who rarely posts, rarely shows but quietly exists, know this. There's a universe behind that silence, a story too deep for captions, a soul too vast for the internet to contain.